This is the North Carolina Food and Beverage Podcast, brought to you by Sysco. Sysco is here to help set you up for success by delivering high-quality foods, products, and services for your restaurant. Recording live to digital from the NCF&B studios in downtown Raleigh. Join us as we lead you into the kitchen, inside the bottle, and into the minds of the food and beverage industry.
And now, asking AI to write a funny intro.
It's Max Trujillo and Matthew Weiss.
Hello, and thank you for listening to the North Carolina Food and Beverage Podcast. I am your co-host, Max Trujillo.
And replacing Matthew Weiss today and forevermore, I am Kevin Barrett.
Wow. So it's been declared.
Yes.
Matt's off the show.
I did some background on this. I watched a YouTube video about how to do a podcast. I read Podcasts for Dummies. I think I'm going to wow you today.
Yeah, we wrote that.
We're not going to need Matt anymore after this.
Well, he's enjoying himself in Italy, and who knows if we'll even come back. The video he sent me yesterday was him topless by the pool, and I mean, if you guys want, go to our Patreon. You can get that for extra.
I'll pay to not see that.
Well, all right. So Kevin Barrett of local and, from original Wilmington fame, and then now here in Raleigh, and now taking over the entire state with many things that you do. You are here as my co-host, but it sounds to me like you have ulterior motives a little bit.
I do have some ulterior motives. Dram Draught, now in 7 cities in North Carolina, is helping with Bubbles and Briskets.
Yeah.
Our Bubbles and Brisket, and that's June 8th. And we're helping bring in all the liquor and wine. So we're honored to do that as well.
Yeah, we are thankful for that too. And super cool. For those that don't know, that if you are living under a rock, you don't know what Dram Draught is. It's the greatest cocktail lounge to take over the entire state. It's not just 1, 2, 3, or 4, or 5, or 6. I believe it's 7 different bars across the country, or the state, soon to be the country. That in itself is unique. You don't see that happen too often. We've discussed it before. We'll get into it. Mm-hmm. But you guys have done even more things. And I say you guys because you got a third wheel over here in the studio. And
Yes.
We're here to discuss, of course, Dram Draught and Bubbles and Brisket. And we'll get into those things. But there's really actually something far more impressive that's been happening in your lives. I want you to get into that.
It's a great segue to introduce our guest, Drew Schenck. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Yes.
Also of Dram Draught fame, but he's here to tell us all about a new liquor brand that's also taking North Carolina by storm. And Drew, can you tell us a little bit about what you brought with you today for us?
Well, we brought the GOATZ rum and the Moonbird gin.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, okay. I'm going to play this by the numbers, real simple and stupid. You guys do run a bar, or bars, multiple ones. And Drew, you're like back in the day, one would call you a serial entrepreneur or so. You've done a few different businesses as time has gone on. And Kevin has been a master barman around serving drinks to those from many fancy, cool bars all across this city and the coast and such. But because of this acumen you guys and this cool relationship you guys have forged over the years, you now have your own distillery and liquor, which I've only tried once at a cocktail party, and I was like 4 drinks in when I had it. So this I will consider to be the first time I truly understand and taste everything we're trying. But from what I understand, you guys have already hit the ground running with some serious awards. You want to tell me?
Yeah, so we submitted both for the San Francisco World Liquor Competition, which is the premier competition for liquors in the world. There was 450 gins submitted. We won double gold for the gin, which is the highest award. We won gold for the rum, which is just awesome. Yeah, we're very, very happy with the way it's been received. We're in some awards for packaging. We're very, and we can talk about the packaging of these bottles, but we're very, very proud of the packaging and the ceramic baked on label and the bottle design.
And how new are these products, Drew?
So we got into the state of North Carolina. The pallets were delivered about 16 weeks ago, and then, of course, it takes some weeks to get out to the boards. And so we've really just been at it for about less than 2 months. And even in that, with being control state, you'll have a board order it, and then the bars try and order it, but it's already out. So we're still working through that. We're so new right now. We're still trying to convince the boards that it's going to sell. So would you bring some in and bring enough in so that people can order it? So that's the stage we're in right now. It takes them a little while because they see a lot of new brands. They see, they hear a lot of pitches, and everybody thinks they've got the next big thing. But this one's actually selling very well already, and so that's our job right now, is to convince them to stock up.
So with all those things in consideration, you think sales are going well so far for the short period of time?
Yes, because as long as we keep selling out and we have nothing to sell, then we're selling 100%. So now we want to move that 100% number up by increasing inventory in the boards. But as long as every week we're struggling to get it in, it's a tough win, but it's a win. And it's selling. We have a lot of bars that are waiting for it right now, and we just we've got to wait till it's in, and that's a fun problem to have.
I'm curious about the inspiration for these two products, Drew. Can you tell us a little bit about that? I know Max wants to know also.
Yeah, I do.
So, and there may be somebody else out there.
Hopefully.
As a lot of people know, my co-host and I started a liquor company some time ago. Am I not supposed to say that we're business partners?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people already know.
Yeah, I think that's the bit.
That's the bit.
Yeah.
Oh, so, and your name's Barrett?
Close. Yes, that's...
So, and we were trying to forge a new type of flavor, a whole new segment, or I don't know exactly how you describe it, but that's what we were trying to do. And the pandemic hit and other things, and possibly everybody is not clamoring to get a cola-flavored vodka. I know it's hard to believe, but it may be the case, and the market spoke. And so Kevin and I'm telling you, Kevin and I said, well, let's go into a category we know and create the best in that category that we think, flavor-wise, because we have the pedigree to say we can create the best. And we were able to get some of the best in the world. And when we talk about that, the rum flavor and the input from the great Dale DeGroff, which went, and so we had some of the best people in the world. The gin, Philip Duff is on it's not the Gin Council, Gin Guild, the World Gin Guild, and he has Old Duff Genevieve, which is the grandfather of gin, and his Genevieve is actually stamped, and it's a stamp that only I think 5 in the world have. That it's from the right area, it's the right malt wine, everything's done on site. It meets all this category that he has the Skeetum stamp on his, and he really knows his gin, and he helped us with that and the rum, and he knows his rum too. And so we were able to pull together some of the best in the world and create what we believe, and I say this without hesitation, that is the best gin in the world, and that is the best rum in the world.
That's a bold statement. And for frame of reference, you alluded to the first product that you guys made, and so this is not the first liquor that you had. You had Kolodka, which we chatted about it when you were on the podcast. Maybe 4 years ago, I'd say. Somewhere, 3.
Yep.
Somewhere in that vein, and that was that cola flavored liqueur, and even that idea was kind of like to be a product that could coexist with, let's say, all the big boys like the gins and the bourbons and the vodkas. It's like, no, this Kolodka you could put with other things. It could be part of a cocktail or so, but like find yourself in that tertiary market. But now, you guys, you've done this before. This is not your first rodeo. So now you're actually going straight in, and you're hitting the big varietals, if you will, the core brands.
Exactly.
Do you feel like you learned a lot that first time round?
I think
Schenck?
that's the thing. So you really learn more, and you hear people say this on, in speeches and motivational stuff, and in books, business books, that you learn more from your failures than you do your successes.
Yeah.
And it is not fun and not friendly and any kind of emotion you want to put on it to learn that way, but it's so damn true.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, just from the label and the bottle. I mean, you take and hold that one and hold one of these from the, and we tried hard with it. We that was all natural. We used real sugar when they wanted us to use corn fructose syrup. We used real vanilla when they were like, nobody does that. Use fake vanilla. We created what we thought was a really good product. It was a really good product that nobody was buying already. So we had no way to work our way in. And we were category creating, and probably if I had to rethink that, I still think that's a great thing to do with a $100 million budget.
Yeah, maybe like it would be good if you already had a huge gin or rum in your portfolio.
Or a huge brand with a marketing department and a sales department. And it sounds like the pandemic didn't help at all.
No.
As I remember,
we were
that product launched 6 months before the pandemic.
We wanted to be a shot brand, and nightclubs, and we're all shut down, so.
Yeah, could we talk about that for a quick second before?
I'd rather not.
I've been curious about just talking to bar owners. Nightlife in itself just feels like it was thwarted. It was stolen from us. Like we didn't have this nightlife. And of course, I've gotten older and I have kids, and I don't go out as much. Although I do like to hang. My bedtime. I'm actually supposed to see a movie with my buddy starting at 10 p.m. tomorrow night, and I don't know how I'm going to make it as an old man talking about this. But for a while, the nightlife post-pandemic, it was eradicated. I mean, all bars even were. I think they had to shut down at 10 o'clock or so.
Yeah, more than that, the whole communal thing of a bar, the whole like meeting people to before a movie or to catch up, making new friends, meeting old friends. Meeting significant others, all of that was taken from us, and really that communal feeling, where people come together and talk, it was taken from us, and that's what I missed the most.
Well, and not to be crass or whatever, and I'm trying to remember what's his name, the professor from NYU, Scott. He was just on Bill Maher, but he's like, kids aren't hooking up as much as they used to,
Yeah,
and
Scott Galloway.
Scott Galloway, that's exactly right. Thank you. They're not
That's
hooking
what I'm
up
here for. Co-host.
There it is.
Co-hostess with the mostest.
And so this is what it's like to have a guy that could fill in and help me speak on the show.
Tell you what's his name? We don't even need him anymore.
We don't need him. Anyways, Mathwise.
Learn Italian, Matt.
But that, like, the idea was that like people aren't going out as much. They don't meet each other. I mean, I met my wife while I was bartending. She came in and we met, and then
Makes sense.
fell in love and had kids. And 23 years later, we're still doing the thing. But people don't meet that way anymore. They meet online and sometimes not at all. And then when they do meet, it might not be like a romantic courting. Sometimes it's just a hello, swipe right, and then see you tomorrow or never again. And so that community had kind of fallen away. Now, I'm wondering, I'm asking today, like as in we're in 2024, in almost June, mid-May, is there a nightlife scene again? Like, are we back? Is there a community?
We're not back. We're almost back. I feel. What do you think, Drew? I think that it's not back 100%, but it's coming back every day, every month, every year. We get away from 2020, the better it gets.
Absolutely. And I just spent some time up in New York, and Manhattan is thumping. Everything seems to be thumping. So I don't know. I'm not obviously the club person, so I don't know about those scenes. But as far as our style bars, the cocktail bars, they're back. But let me throw this out. One thing I do mentally, because we suffered a lot. We had a bar that was fully built that didn't get to open for 2 years. We had a lot of that. But I always go back and I think about our neighbors' kids that didn't go to junior and senior year of high school. Never going to go to prom. And I go, what? As bad as it may have been for some of us adults, I always think about the kids and think, we're lucky, and I don't allow myself to wallow in it. Feel sorry for myself just because I know that there's other people that suffered much, much more, and we kept our houses, and we're alive, and so that's the way I look at it. That's the
get back to the
stoicism
happier
in me.
stuff.
Yeah, that's the stoic in me.
On that cheery note,
Could be worse.
We're going to take a quick break just to talk about a word from our title sponsor, Cisco, just to get into it, and then we'll get right back in because I want to taste these liquors. And I think that's a good way for us to warm up the palate a little bit here too. So
Another great segue, partner.
pausing now for a quick word from our sponsor, Cisco. Here at the NCF&B podcast, we're all about getting good food service professionals what they need to do great work. And that's why we're teaming up with Cisco, and that's why teaming up with Cisco makes great sense. Cisco has exactly what you need right when you need it. It's innovation delivered. Cisco stocks fresh, innovative ingredients and fresh, innovative ideas. From the high-quality food and the top-of-the-line products you need to operate at your best. Plus, the business network to keep you on top of trends and industry standards while you do it. Because you want it all, and you want it delivered, and Cisco has the flexibility to deliver to any business at any size to meet your needs. Get the industry's largest supply chain network and most sophisticated logistics working for you. Visit Sysco.com, that's SYSCO.com, to learn more about Cisco's worldwide innovation and delivery. Cisco, at the heart of food and service. All right.
When do I get my check from Cisco?
It's in the mail. It's being logistically delivered to you right now.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, let's get into it. So if we're going to taste gin or rum, what should we be drinking first?
Let's do the gin first.
All right.
I suggest. Do you concur?
I'm pouring it.
Quick, Max, vamp while he's pouring.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I should give you my glass too. Oh, hold on. Oh, look at that beautiful metal. Oh, you only poured me 4 ounces of gin. I don't know if that's gonna be enough.
It's less than I poured last time I was here.
Oh my God.
I think I brought 3 or 4 bourbons last time I was
Do you
here.
remember the first time you were on the show when you were in my basement at my house?
I do.
You brought matcha, I think. No, you brought
mate.
mate.
I brought mate.
Mate to the house.
I did. I brought mate. And then I brought 3 bottles of whiskey. I think it was 2 bourbons and a rye or something.
My gosh, we didn't know what we were doing. And my God, there was a lot of booze consumed in that first year of podcasting. And we finally realized we should probably spit at times. Or
I'm glad we're getting back to basics.
There we go. Yeah, this is what's creating the nightlife right here.
KB Barman's here. We're drinking during the podcast.
Oh, absolutely. I don't believe in wasting it either. No spit cup in front of me.
All right.
So that's the
bouquet,
gin.
by the way, yeah, this bouquet already has like this beautiful floral. Like gin can go in a couple different ways. So, like for those, and maybe comparison sucks when you guys. I don't know if you like
go
it,
for it.
But like I'm getting more citrus and herbal notes on this. I would say like for those not having this in their hand right now, I would say it leans more just off the nose. To like a Hendrix style gin, if I'm to just kind of say that.
Not quite as floral as Hendrix.
That's
I think herbal is good. Floral is something we were trying to avoid. The citrus is right on, I think.
Definitely, I get that lemon, citrus, or lime.
So you're getting lime. So one of
Yeah.
the neat things is you've got citrus in many gins, but most are very orange forward.
Yeah.
And we did orange peel, which encompasses the entire peel of the orange. And then we did lime zest, and we put more lime in it than we did the orange peel.
Yeah.
And that's very unique. And I'll tell you something else we did. There's 10 botanicals in here. We distilled this over in the Netherlands. I literally flew over to the Netherlands and went to this distillery that was started in the 1700s and distilled this. And we distilled all 10 botanicals separately. And there's not many people that make gin this way. Usually it's done. Yeah, this is a different method. So usually you would have a gin basket, or you steep and then distill, or a combination of both. Because some solvents you're better with the heat, without the heat, with the alcohol, without the alcohol. So this is totally unique because we distill all 10 separately, and then we were blending them to get the exact flavor we wanted, which is a classic London dry gin. It does have juniper, but it's not overly juniper. You hear people say, I don't like gin, I don't want to eat a pine tree. Well, you don't get that at all, right?
It's got a proper backbone of juniper.
Yep.
You told us about the lime and orange. You don't have to go through all 10 ingredients, but can you name just a couple of others?
Sure. Yeah, I see you have your note. Well, let me name a couple of the ones that I feel very like. The orris root, which is the root of a German bearded iris, which was in the oldest known written recipe for gin, which you'll see the little castle on the label. See, that label's got all kinds of meaning in it. It was a handwritten book written in the 1400s, and it had the German bearded iris in it. And that's what gives it that mouthfeel. So this is not thin like a lot of gins. You take that. No. The only one I could find, and like you said, we don't try to compare because there's great gins and everybody's got their own palate. We lined them up, and the only one with a mouthfeel this good was Monkey 47, and it had a mouthfeel like this, and the other ones all tasted thin to me, and of course Monkey 47's about $25 more a bottle, so I was like, hey, you know what? That's not a bad comparison. So
Anthony Guerrero, what do you think?
It is that fucking special.
Okay, well you got the bump from Anthony, so that's good.
So that's the gin, man.
So the idea of doing this separate distillation was essentially for control, and so that you guys could strategically
Quality and control.
But you were like a sniper trying to find your flavor profile.
Exactly.
You were really getting in there tight.
Exactly. And then it allows us to repeat it. So if the lime zest is a little different, in 3 months than it was, 3 months ago, we can up that a little bit, lower this. We can recreate this flavor exactly without worrying about, time of year that Ennis was picked and dried, and whether it was freeze dried or, we should be able to recreate this exact gin, which to have a world-class gin is important. You want, it to be the same 2 years from now because you're going to create a cocktail around it, and it matters. The recipe matters, and you want it to taste the same. That's why we went with 84 proof. So we didn't want something over the top that you couldn't drink in a martini.
Yeah.
Or straight, as we're drinking it right now. This is the only gin in the world that I'll sit here and sip straight like this.
I don't know if I really have ever just had like room temperature gin to sip. I'll do that with vodka every now and then if it's a really good vodka and, I'm hanging out with Bert Kreischer on a Russian train. But I don't really drink gin this way, and you've kind of changed my opinion. I could drink this way. This is a good way to drink gin.
And that's the 84 proof. If it was too much more than that, you might not enjoy it.
Yeah, and the balance just changes even with 1 percentage point difference. And I like it really at 84 proof because I hope we're going to taste it in a gin and tonic soon, but it works well in a gin and tonic, works well in a cocktail. It has enough flavor.
Holds up.
Backbone, alcohol ABV wise, that it will work in a cocktail. And Drew, would you say that this is the taste profile that you and your business partner really enjoy? Like you've designed this to be drunkened by you and him, right?
And you.
And him, you. I think we hit exactly. So if, talking about how we created it, I really wanted... I was more about what I didn't want. I didn't want the potpourri, and I know Kevin doesn't consider that a true tasting term, but I know what I mean. That water in the bottom of the little ceramic thing,
Yeah.
And I didn't want it too much floral. I didn't want any lavender, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I wanted a London Dry that had juniper, but not too much. And then with that information, Kevin and Philip went to work, and they lined up. We had multiple tastings. We adjusted things. We boom, and this will come with the rum. We all agreed on this, but when I tell you about the rum, it was kind of funny because we were literally we had our samples, and you'd put a number down. I'll jump ahead and just tell you this about the rum. When we got this sample back, the final samples on the rum, instead of rating them, 1 to 6, your top, I wrote down number 3, and I was like, there's no other that matters. Kevin did the same thing. So it was like it was a moment where
nice.
you go, oh, there is no discussion. I wasn't like, oh, it could be this one or that one. It was like, that's our rum, and that's a fun story.
That's how my wife and I found our house, actually. She was still living in Los Angeles, and I was searching a bunch of homes here in North Carolina with my realtor, and we saw 7 homes in one day, and we knew that was going to be the case. But prior to that, it was my realtor's suggestion. She said, I know you really like this particular townhouse. I go, yeah. She's like, what's your second and third choice? I'm like, this and this. She's like, okay, let's put it in a sealed envelope. And I go, what? She's like, we're going to ask your wife as well later on. Let's see how close you guys are. And we both, when she asked her at the end of the day, what's the house? We both agreed on the same one. We were both there. So we had this unison, and it felt great. It's like, oh, it wasn't like anyone, ceded their thought to just for the greater good. It was like, no, we both wanted this, and it sounds like that's the way you two lovebirds came together with this.
It didn't go that easy because we'd already been through, say, 3 of those iterations, and this is the end process. So we had already, I don't want to say fought through it because it wasn't any fighting, but we had already, made our arguments for this one over this one over this one, this and that. But let's jump to the rum because I want to tell you something about the rum because it's a good story.
So, yeah, before we move on, though, I think just you talked about Philip a couple times. Can we just, I think I know where you're going with the rum. Philip's role with the whole thing.
So, good to solidify that. So I have mentioned him several times. Anybody doesn't know who he is, Philip Duff. He has a podcast. He is kind of a legend in the bar industry. He does, he speaks at Tales and Cocktail. He speaks at Bar Convent in Berlin and Brooklyn, and he speaks anywhere he wants to speak if it has to do with liquor, cocktails, all that kind of thing. He owns the brand, which I mentioned earlier, Old Duff Genevieve. He has a company called Liquid Solutions, and we hired that company to help us develop these brands, which he gets an A+ on. Well, no, he gets a double gold and a gold. I guess that's even better than me giving him an A+. And yes, Kevin and I had our direction. I mean, the bottle, I drew it on a piece of paper and said, this is what I want. And so we had our direction, but then he took our direction and turned it into what we have now. And I got to tell the story about the rum because then there was this other guy that somebody in the restaurant business may know. So we're tasting the rum. We did the same thing. We had several iterations. And the way that's done, this rum is distilled in 3 Caribbean countries, Barbados, Dominican Republic, and now, and I say now, and Jamaica. And that's what the story comes from. So Shear buys 80% of the world's rum. They ship it all to Amsterdam, store it, and then you blend it. And a lot of rums, not a lot, what is it? It's like 80% of the rums on the shelf, are come through their warehouse. So we're doing this process where they're blending for us. We're telling them what we want, boom, boom, boom. And we wanted it aged in bourbon barrels. We wanted no vanilla added. We wanted only to taste the vanilla from the bourbon barrel, which this does. And we're tasting these, and Dale DeGroff happens to be in town. He's at Dram Draught. He's doing he went over the Cosmopolitan, went over a lot of stuff.
He's doing a book signing, as I remember.
Book signing, but there was so much learned about shrubs, that I didn't know. He can't talk for 1 minute without you picking up like 5 things you need to write down.
Yeah.
So
consummate bartender.
And so we got lucky enough that he's like, yeah, I'll taste your samples. And we're real happy with a couple of these samples. They're close to what we have now as far as the base. And he says, guys, you got something here. It's a good rum, but there's a lot of good rum out there. He said, you need something funky. Add something. What did he say? Abricol? What did he say?
Agricol.
Agricol. I knew I was going to say. I keep trying to say albatross. And so Philip said, well, we're not going to do that, but we could add some Jamaican because what he's looking for is the esters, blah, blah, blah.
A little bit of funk.
A little bit of funk. And so that's when they added different levels of Jamaican in 6 samples, sent it to us, and it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And both of us just, under the table wrote down, and I didn't write down what my second choice was because there was no second choice. And I don't think you didn't either, right? We just said, this is it. And that's where we should be drinking this.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Drew's really excited about this rum.
I think we're both excited about both of the liquors, and sometimes I'm more excited about the rum than the gin. But if I can put my co-host hat back on, Drew, we've heard about Dale, we've heard about Philip, and this Kevin character, your business partner. How handsome of a genius is he? And quick follow-up, does he smell as nice as I've heard?
So, no, he smells like rum.
Well, that's what I've heard.
So, and I hope I'm giving credit where credit's due because, yes, Dale gave us that funkiness, but to get to that point, we had built the base of this, and, the percentage came in because of you knew what you wanted in a cocktail. We had a lot of good back and forth, and I think crediting the rum to Philip, you, and I is very fair, but I think you got to mention Dale. Because, it wouldn't be funky like this without him.
It was wonderful, and then Dale made it outstanding.
Oh, and there it is. That is so good. So when you're tasting this, the vanilla you get is only from the bourbon barrels. There's no added vanilla, and it's crazy because it's got a great vanilla flavor.
And you were telling me earlier that the color is all from the barrels as well. regardless of what it says on the bottle, that was just a legal thing.
Well, the legal thing was the recipe says caramel color as needed. Well, we didn't need it. Mm-hmm. And because the TTB filing says caramel color as needed, then it has to say caramel color on the bottle. So there's no caramel color added. We didn't need it.
Very little sugar.
Very little sugar. Like I think it was an eighth of a teaspoon or eighth of a tablespoon per bottle. It's very little. Very little sugar added. It's just I think it's and let me say this, it's the best thing I've ever had with a cigar. So if you're a cigar smoker, it is the best thing. So I love bourbon.
Fair statement.
I love bourbon.
I think we have a Cuban in here somewhere. Someone just left a beautiful cigar in our studio somewhere, and I was like, well, okay. All right, here's my editorial. This is fucking delicious.
Thank you.
I do appreciate a good rum. And I do like a dark rum. I don't like, just kind of your simple, throw it in like a rum punch type of thing. I want something that has some heft to it or some texture. And I'm getting all of that. And it's smooth, but it doesn't have that real turpentine petrol that you'll get on certain rums. I don't know why I'm getting that. I don't know, Kevin, if you can explain what that is sometimes, but I'm not getting that. I'm getting this pure, almost like that candied brown sugar meeting with that tobacco kind of thing that's pushing through. But I mean, this is sippable. This is no ice. This is just
very
straight out.
sippable.
Yeah.
This is neat on the rocks. Some handsome genius brought daiquiris pre-mixed with this. And this is technically it's a spiced rum, but it doesn't drink like a spiced rum to me, and I think that's because most of the flavor comes from the barrel and a little bit of added flavor, and then just such a small amount of sugar. It drinks more like a really mature aged rum to me, and it goes great in a daiquiri. It goes great in a rum and coke. I've had it that way, and neat or on the rocks. And I think for Bubbles and Brisket, we're serving an airmail with it.
Wait, explain that. It's serving a what?
Airmail. Airmail. It's a modern classic sparkling wine. Kind of fits the motif. And we'll be using the Moonbird gin. We'll be doing a French 75. So again, another sparkling wine cocktail fits the theme.
We'll get into that. Let's get into that right now. For those that are curious about Bubbles and Brisket, it's happening on Saturday, June 8th at Smoky Hollow, which is in downtown Raleigh, right next to the Publix, if you've been there, my friends, or Madre or Midwood Smokehouse, of whom is participating. We have some amazing participants. We've decided to kind of expand a little bit outside of our state and be a little bit more global, especially thanks in part to one of our sponsors, Delta Airlines, taking care of a lot of travel for some people, such as Manny Barea, who's coming from Denver, and he just opened up Jaguar Bolera over the weekend, and fantastic guy. He's on Top Chef right now. Root him on. He's still out there. We don't know what's going to happen, but who knows? He might be our next Top Chef. We've got Ruben Santana coming from Brooklyn of Bark Barbecue, and I know a little bit about barbecue, but once I mentioned to some of the other guys that are locals that Ruben Santana of Bark is going to be here, they all just kind of looked up at me and went, "Oh damn, he's legit." And he's a real badass Dominican guy that's making. I mean, he has a line out the corner in Brooklyn every day. It's like what New Yorkers go to when they want good barbecue. And then it was just announced recently, just as we were about to announce Dram Draught being attached to it, that our good friends and recent guests on the show, Tamasha, is coming in to run the VIP booth, which is really cool. And they're going to do a different spin. For all of you that are curious about, man, that's a lot of brisket, meat. And I'm thinking about my wife and her friends. They're like, yeah, it's great, but I can only handle so much. Tamasha is flipping it, and in the VIP booth, they're doing only vegetarian options to kind of complement all of the brisket dishes, right?
My mind is blown.
I think it's really cool. It's like they're leading with confidence. They're like, yeah, we're going to a barbecue brisket competition, or not competition, but event, and we're just going to make veggies.
Well,
And
one of his best tacos is like a fried potato or something. It's delicious.
yeah, we
on
just
that
ate
corn.
there.
We were just there last night.
It's so they're really, really, really good. And then inside of the VIP booth as well, we just met Mason Allen from Changing Tide Oyster Company while we were at the Beaufort Wine and Food event. This kid, I say kid, I mean this with all respect. He's only 18, but he's running his own oyster farm. And he's going to be out there shucking oysters in the VIP booth. So for those that are interested, tickets are $75 for general admission, but the $135 VIP ticket will get you the access into the Tamasha and Changing Tide Oyster area of the VIP lounge, furnished by Trig Modern, which is a great local furniture store. So there'll be cozy, comfy places to sit and relax. But then we also have the bar that we will have bubbles and we will have beer, but we're also having these boozy cocktails that Dram is going to put together. And so, I can't think of a better thing to do. I'm self-indulgent, I get it. And all of that indulgence kind of manipulated itself into an event where it's basically just serving what me and Matt really love, which is
Why not?
champagne and brisket.
Who's Matt?
Oh, never mind. Yeah. Strike that name from the record. I'll edit that later. But can you not?
My ears just dropped. I don't know why.
Oh, really?
Yep. It's okay. That's a very special day, too, June 8th.
What's June 8th for you?
What's it? You don't know?
I don't know.
It's a famous person's birthday. He'll be 57 that day.
Is that famous person your business partner?
No.
Dude,
No.
please.
No, he would kill me if I told you his
I'm
birthday.
28.
And he's 28.
Yeah, this business is rough on you, but I don't look 57.
Well, all right. For those that want to get a ticket, go to ncfbpodcast.com to get your tickets. You can get it on any of our social media. There are links everywhere. Get your tickets now. You will enjoy yourselves. You'll get a little koozie with a stemless flute that sticks around your neck, so you have your hands free to eat and drink. And now it's time. Oh, look at these guys. You guys are so in love. I love it. I love how much you guys love each other as business partners. Matt and I, I say there's three things that I want out of this life. It's a beach house, a Porsche, and to throw Matt out of a 4-story window. But I kid. He's a great dude. Stuff.
Yeah, we've had a good run. Kevin and I do like working together, and we have a good. He's very, very, very good at the bar thing and the cocktails, and I don't step on his toes when it comes to that stuff. So that makes it knowing your areas of expertise really helps maintain a good partnership. Because if I felt like I could come in there and correct his cocktails or talk to our bar staff about I do talk to them about their cocktails during the creation stage but I'm in the position of a customer. Like I go, oh, this is a little sweet for me, this, that, and they love hearing it. But as far as like saying you need to do this or we have to change that, I don't do any of that. And that's why our cocktail menu is so good.
I just want to keep the camera on Kevin, just watching him try to. You're supposed to be.
I'm a bartender.
Yeah, you're supposed to be a phenomenal bartender. And I was
he's
watching
struggling.
you fumble these cups.
I'm retired.
You look like what's her name? Never mind.
This bar setup is not regulation, by the way.
And you guys can still hear me, right? Because I can't hear
but
you.
you can't hear anything.
No,
out of the,
that's all right.
out of the headphones.
As long as you can hear me.
I wish. I mean,
I'm so
yes,
glad
I
you can hear
Will
me.
you just tap that little? That's the connection. Maybe there's just something.
Just went in.
Yeah. Okay.
Great.
There we go.
So now I want to
Okay.
have to shout. I was shouting because I couldn't hear myself.
So, Mr. Barrett,
You were shouting from the beginning.
Oh gosh.
Mr. Barrett, you just poured some delicious drinks in these tin cups over here. What are we drinking?
We're drinking a spiced rum daiquiri. GOATZ spiced rum daiquiri. Super simple drink. Real easy to make at home. And 3 ingredients, and it's just outstanding. I love a classic daiquiri, but when we made it with the GOATZ rum, I
What is
knew.
that? Worcestershire.
Keep going. Yep. You're almost
Say
there.
Campari and I guess rum, right?
Close, but you're way off.
Oh, okay.
It's actually GOATZ spiced rum, lime juice, and simple syrup.
Okay.
So 3 ingredients.
Sugar,
super simple.
lime, and water.
That's right.
Two parts lime, 1 part 2 parts rum, 1 part lime, and what, a 3/4 part?
Yeah.
When you
Got it.
make
Nailed it. Nailed it.
and I don't mean this like for the bar. I know you got to have standards up high, but when you are making your own simple syrup at home, Are you just straight 50-50, 1-to-1, or do you do it a little differently?
No, if I make it at home, it's 50-50 and it's water out of the faucet. I mean, just hot water out of the faucet. You don't even need to put it on the stove.
Yeah.
If you do, you're going to boil it and boil it down. The ratio is going to be a little off. It's so simple, right?
Right. That's the point, but
yeah,
we overdo it sometimes.
If I'm having a party and we're going to make a lot of old fashions or something like that, maybe I'll make 2-to-1. Maybe I'll make, Demerara or something like that. But at home, it's. I mean, to be honest, old bartender. A lot of times, I just throw some sugar in the glass, a little bit of warm water, let it dissolve, and then make the drink that way.
Yeah, my old bar manager when I was at Midtown Grill would always say, "You know how I know you're a '90s bartender? Because I see the way you make your old fashions." And apparently, like making the old fashioned with a maraschino cherry, a slice of orange, and a cube of sugar, and mashing it is not what you're supposed to do. But I also would contend that I've heard a lot of like cool hipster bartenders, the ones that roll up their sleeves and have fancy mustaches, say that is a type of old fashioned that should be recognized and acknowledged.
It's a bad one. It's a bad one. That was popular from like 1950s to the 1990s. And I remember learning that too. I remember them teaching me, did you ask if they wanted it muddled or not? And I was like, what does that mean? And then I served a muddled one. I was like, this looks like fruit cup salad, gross, like disgustingness. Who wants to drink this
shit? It depends
shit?
on what else they order. If they order 2 B-52s and 2 old fashions, muddle it.
Sure. Although I will say, making a good mojito, I like taking a couple of sugar cubes, like brown sugar cubes, Demerara's, in a tin, hitting it with the hot water from the espresso machine. I just go just like real quick, and then throw a couple of lime wedges, and then just a ton of mint, and then muddle the hell out of that, and then throw it in a glass of ice with rum and all that, and top it with some soda. I think that tastes delicious that way.
Well, listen, if you're making it for yourself and you're making it at home, it should taste delicious to you, and you should have fun making it and make it however you want. That's always been my theory.
That's at the code for don't fucking do that at my bar ever again.
No, that's at the bar we do it a certain way, but there's multiple reasons for it. It's speed. It's to minimize waste. It's
consistency.
Yeah, consistency.
Yeah,
7 bars we try to make all the drinks the same, and that is such a challenge. But speaking of making drinks,
how do you break guys down that like have been bartenders for a while and they're like, "This is how I make it, bro."
Oh, they
go quick.
Yeah, they either go quick or they get with the program quick. And at a lot of the bars, you don't start as a bartender.
Yeah,
you start below that, and those people with that kind of ego and that kind of attitude,
won't do it.
Yeah, they won't even make it past a week or two to get to a bar shift because they think they're better than that, and I don't understand that. I mean, I always wanted to be the bartender when I started at a place, but I knew you had to work up.
Yeah. I appreciate that. It is very challenging. As we were talking about, you learn from your failures more than from your successes. Drew, you and I were talking about my business that I closed down last year, and I'm still learning from all those failures. And at this current state, I know that like I don't know if I ever want to be in the restaurant industry again. I like talking about it, and I love food and drink with a passion, but I don't know if I'll do it. And I think it's because I didn't have that, which what you are talking about is like that dedication to this is our way and this is like the standard. And you guys have really shown with that type of like you don't rule with an iron fist, but you rule with like a very specific intention to be like, hey, this is it. We're trying to do this for the community. We're going to do it one way, and it's going to be the right way.
Yeah,
I would say, and I appreciate that.
And you got to share with them why that's important. If you're in Raleigh and you drive to Wilmington and have a drink at the Wilmington Dram, you're expecting it to taste the same way as it does in Raleigh. If they're using twice as much sugar in Wilmington on their old fashioned, then somebody's going to be pissed. And that person's probably going to be me.
And even if that bartender was right that one time, let's just say he made a quote unquote better cocktail, even if that, whatever, it's subjective, but for that particular guest, it was better for them. Well, either way, you're kind of ruining what the brand is for everybody else, because then the next guy.
It's a whole mentality too, though, because we have training every week at all bars, and when I ran sports bar, I don't think I trained in 9 years, really. And I did try to get them to use jiggers because we were, costs are off. Hey, I need you guys measuring. This is, boom, boom, boom. And they looked at it as an insult. Like, now I know my pours. I don't have to pour. Well, we measure not because we're worried they're going to have, an ounce and 3/4 instead of 2 ounces or whatever. It's because the recipe matters, okay?
Yeah, right.
And it's coming out, the simple is coming out of a pour faster when the bottle's full than it is when the bottle's empty. So counts are kind of more of a general thing anyway. And if you want a 1/4 ounce of simple, it needs to be a 1/4 ounce of simple. So we measure the simple, we measure the lime, we measure the liquor. It's not about not just about control of the liquor. It's about creating a drink that's got consistency. And to get people to do that and to buy into that and do that, that takes training and leadership. And that's what Kevin does is they lead these trainings every week. And these folks are great. I would say, you heard me bragging about the gin and the rum. I really believe it's some of the best gin and rum in the world. I believe we have some of the best bartenders in the world. And I think it comes from they're innately great people, but then they're involved in this process that lets them grow over the months and years. And I think it's just a wonderful thing to experience.
Well, from the outside looking in, I can tell that you have a community, like your team looks like a family out there. Like there's a lot of love there, and you can tell there's a lot of pride for like people that work for the company. So that means a lot. And you can tell that easily. Yeah, but I mean, to the same point, can you imagine if like one of these "this is how I do it my way" bartenders worked at like a McDonald's, and he's like, "I put goat cheese on my Big Mac, bro." You know what I mean? It's like that's an
Did he
equivalent.
just compare us to McDonald's?
I think he did.
That's the first time you've ever hurt my feelings.
McDram's opening up.
Oh
yeah.
Do not. All right, I need that cut.
McDram,
I don't even want that to become a thing.
I think, no kidding. Cut that. I think I have some editorial power
Where
as
is
the
Matt?
Bring Mateo back.
Yeah, where's Matt?
Arrivederci. Oh my God!
Now we have to get back to the gin and the rum.
Can we talk about the names? I want to.
Yes,
Goats.
I want to talk about the inspiration, where the names came from,
And augmented reality.
Yes, and augmented reality.
Because you have to be in the know to know about the augmented reality, and we want your listeners to be in the know.
Are we talking like, is this Joe Rogan now? Oh. Where are we going with this?
Oh yeah, the sound
I
waves
don't know
matter.
where we're going with that.
All
Where's Joe
elements
Rogan
have
these days?
sound waves.
We did do a little
That's
peyote
Joe
before
Rogan.
the show started, and I can feel it kicking in right now.
You told me that was standard. You said you and Matt do that every show.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So the augmented reality portion, if you hit the QR code on the side, like say of the GOATZ rum, we worked with NYU's Augmented Reality Lab, and
Hold up that bottle to the camera real quick.
And the first bottling has the medallion, right? It won't have the medallion after that. And then the label on the side label has the QR code. The same QR code.
Oh, let me use that finger. Sorry, folks. That's the QR code. And then you point the you have to give it permission to use your camera and whatnot. But you hit a couple permissions, and no, we're not then tracking you.
Point it at your camera. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, there it is.
And
Have you seen the augmented reality, Max?
No,
And the
I
goats
tried
come
doing
out
it.
of
My
the
phone
bottle.
wasn't working.
Okay.
But yeah.
They come out of the bottle, walk around the bar. It's really cool. And then on your phone, you tap the label and you get recipes and links and everything.
That's afterwards. The cool part is when I'm showing Max.
Put it
right
on.
now.
Put it on the camera. Put it on your camera.
I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Can you see that?
Kind of see it. It
Okay.
is a little
It's
weird,
cool.
but
Well, you know what?
that's cool. Well,
All right,
everyone
this
has
is the
to do it.
first
It's
pitch.
super cool.
Yeah.
This is the
I've
first
probably missed
pitch.
a couple,
Go
too.
pick up a bottle and try it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Don't look at that.
But so is the GOATZ? Is it standing for like greatest of all time? Is that the
No,
reference?
I'll tell you
No.
about that. But also just to finish on that augmented reality, the Moonbird flies around the bottle and you can follow him around. It's super cool. People at a bar love it. When you're doing it, I was just doing it at Raleigh Point yesterday, and the bartenders left the bottles on the table, and everybody in the bar ended up gathering around and watching it. And they're and they're like, "Why don't you say that somewhere on the bottle?" And I'm kind of like, "Well, you just kind of got to know."
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and it's cool. So the labels, the names. So Moonbird is a NFT, and GOATZ is an NFT collection. So a friend of mine, Kevin Rose, he started Proof Collective, which I bought into, and then I got 2 Moonbirds. And this is actually Moonbird 649 gin. Well, I own Moonbird number 649. And we were going to do a Moonbird gin for that community and kind of as a homage to this group of us, and Philip Duff correctly, because I had drawn this bottle, literally this. I wanted a square bottle or rectangle, this shape, and all that. And I put the Moonbird on it, and Philip's like, "Yeah, Drew, you can't put a cartoon on a liquor bottle." And so we hired the people he recommended, Rooster Factory, and they designed what I think is the coolest looking gin bottle in the world to go with the best liquid. Yeah. And they took my Moonbird, which is really a pixelated cartoon, right? It's an NFT, and they changed it into that. So this is kind of not a derivative, but anyway, it's a takeoff of that. And then the botanicals are on the bottle, the castle where the oldest gin recipe was found, and there's all kinds of little secrets
the label
in there.
Seems meaningful.
It is meaningful.
And beautiful, and sounds like that's one of Philip's many wonderful contributions.
One of his many wonderful contributions. One of the ones
but the name, though?
Oh, so Moonbirds are an NFT project. They are there's 10,000 Moonbirds. Now, there's only like 6,000 people because, like, I own 2 Moonbirds. Other people own 2 Moonbirds. So it's 10,000 NFTs. They were in the height of this NFT run-up. A Moonbird would sell for $80,000. There's 10,000 of them. Do the math.
Wow.
They're down to 1.4 ETH right now, so $5,000 each, roughly. Yeah, do the math. It's still big numbers.
Yeah.
And they've got their own Discord. They've got their own Twitter. They're just so the reason so this is an interesting fact. Online, the number one place that you buy liquor, although it looks like you're buying it from the website, is Speakeasy, and they do a Shopify. They're the Shopify plug-in for liquor. Okay, let me say it like that. They're the number one seller of liquor online in the country. We were, first quarter, the number one selling rum online in the country. Yeah, this is kind of big news. I actually wrote a press release that we haven't got out yet. I hired somebody to write it. And then gin, we were number 3. Well, for gin category, being number 3 in first quarter is huge. We sold so much online, but it was because we had this built-in community that has been waiting on this. I've been talking about it for a year and a half. They're all like, Drew's doing a Moonbird gin. And then there's a picture. Do you know who Kevin Rose is? He's a tech guy. Tim Ferriss. Talk about podcasts.
Amber Rose, but
yeah, talk about podcasts. Tim Ferriss. He's got, I think, number 1 podcast. Or Joe Rogan's number 1.
Yeah, no, I know Tim Ferriss.
Okay,
yeah, of course.
Well, he's good friends with Tim, and he tasted this, and there's a video on our website, so spiritofthedow.com, of Kevin tasting it. We're out in Marfa, Texas, at this NFT art thing that I go to every year. We'll be out there again this November. And he tastes it, and he goes, "Oh, God, this is good. I thought this was going to be shit. This is really good." And that video is on the website.
Drew. He knows Drew well. Is what it is.
Yeah, given the
we haven't met
normal
yet.
audience.
Yeah. Well, the last Tim Ferriss and Kevin Rose podcast, this is a fun story, at South by Southwest is live, and Tim got me a front row seat. And the only shout out during the podcast, this is on Tim's podcast right now, it was to me, but the bad thing was it was Kevin Rose. He was talking about Ozempic. And this, I know, it's terrible. And all this, and then he said, what he was referring to is the fact that I'm one of his friends that likes to drink. He said, and for my friends like Drew, and I like to drink, it's a good thing for beer bellies. And I'm like, damn, dude, you just could. No, I actually didn't. But what was funny is we were going to dinner afterwards, and the first thing Kevin did was apologize. He said, oh my gosh, Tim and I are walking off stage, and he said what I did. And he said, I didn't mean it. I said, dude, I know you were just trying to do a shout out. It was fine. But anyway, that's his project.
I love that Ozempic has turned into like everyone's secret, darkest secret. Like no one wants to
I'm not on it. Yeah. I have a beer belly. I'm not trying to get rid of it. I'm 57. Or I will be June 8th. So anyway, that's the project. Goats is a really cool project.
It's your birthday.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm not 57. What? That wasn't a joke. You know what? I went off this podcast. I quit.
So we got to cut out a couple things.
Don't cut out anything.
I know. I'm kidding.
No, this is great. And Goat. Why
Goats
I'm
is
so
also
fixated on the names, and you guys are barely telling me the
I know.
answers.
So Goats.
And Moonbird's an NFT.
G-O-A-T-Z.
Goats is an NFT. That's the short answer. Plus, I think they're cool. And Moonbird is an owl is a Moonbird, right? And Goats with a Z. Goats with a Z. There's multiple goats on the cover. it just kind of it all, when you're brainstorming and you're talking things through, they all kind of evolve and develop, and in a good way. I mean, I love these labels. We talk about our original product. I never loved that label. I don't think we really there were a lot of misses on that one, and I think we course corrected on so many things: the bottle, the quality of the bottle, the closure for the bottle, the medallion on the first edition bottles, the label, the quality of the label, the quality of the product. I mean, I think we had good quality
burnt on the ceramic, burnt on label. So it's not even a label. It's not like paper. You can bury that.
You throw that in the ocean, and in 100 years, you're going to pull it up. It's going to look the same virtually. It's
not going to wear. All right, let's talk about some logistic stuff here. For the guys running bar programs and want to be able to put this on their back bar or well, I don't think it's a well product. What is the price point that we're looking at here? Where do we sit?
Gin is $32.95 and the rum is $34.95 retail
plus MXB.
Plus, I was going to say plus MXB for this state, and then other states it may be slightly different, but we're shooting for that.
Okay,
low 30s,
mid to low 30s, but
it's a premium product, but it's not pricing people out. It's not pricing bars or restaurants out.
Certainly not, and definitely for the quality and where this would sit. I mean, to be honest, it's great in a cocktail, but this should be something that you could just call on its own, like
absolutely,
a gin martini, or I just want some rum on the rocks, and that's it.
I'm telling you, a gin and tonic with the Moonbird is I could drink that.
Good tonic.
Yes, yeah. No, you know what? I'll take any tonic because there's a time for cheap tonic. But with this, yes, I prefer it with Q tonic or Fever Tree, West Indian is my preference. But it just I could drink it, 12 months out of the year.
That's awesome. So how does one from the not business to business, but business to customer, if a customer truly wants this stuff, can they request
I have a recommendation.
it at their
Go into the ABC store. If they don't have it, lay in the floor like a 2-year-old. Just start kicking your hands and feet, screaming that you have to have it and you're not leaving till you have it.
Like a Cornell student?
Absolutely. Oh, yes. No, you're right. You got to go in and ask for it. We're in a control state. It's tough, but that's what you got to do. And hopefully, enough people ask for it. We're on the shelf. We just got on the shelf in 5 Orange County. We just got on the shelf. I got a picture of it. I don't know if I told you, Kevin, but we just got on the shelf in the biggest store in Durham, it's in there anyway because bars are bringing it in, but now it's on the shelf.
In the ABCs. I go in and ask for it, but then, Drew, what about for Max and I's listeners outside of the state?
Well, you can order online at spiritofthedow.com, and Dow is DOA. I should be able to spell it, which is funny. Can I tell you about the name of the company?
Well, wait. Finish your thought.
I have trouble doing that.
The website is called what? Spirit of the Dow. Spelled?
Spirit of the DAO.
Oh my God.
Decentralized Autonomous.
I know we said
DOA.
there's no editing, but
Decentralized
this is the
Autonomous Organization.
Right
yeah, right there. Well, that looks like Spirit of the Dad on the bottle.
I know. That's right. It's DAO.
Yeah, I know what it stands for.
Everybody.
Spirit of the DAO.com.
It's kind of a double entendre because Spirit obviously is spirit liquor, spirit, right, within us, of the Tao. Well, Tao in Chinese is that good spirit, right? Yeah. And DAO in Web3 stands for Decentralized Autonomous Organization.
And it kind of looks like Spirit of the Dad, and Drew's a dad.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. This handsome genius is no kids, single. Call me.
Yeah, ladies, you swept right on this one over here. If you're looking for starting a new life.
Podcast hosts.
Yeah,
up and coming podcast hosts.
Well, gents, I really appreciate you coming in today. Kevin, you doing double duty over here, pretending to be someone else the whole time. Being a great and gracious podcast host. I think you learned real quick. It's not that easy.
Can I come back when Matt's here?
Yeah, I think as much as
Can I also come back when Matt's here?
Oh, that's fucked up. Matt, I'm looking at you right now. I give you a hard time, but you make this job look easy.
It's been my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yes.
And thanks for letting me play this role.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Well, thanks, gents, for coming in. And again, can't reiterate enough the fantastic support you guys are giving us for Bubbles and Brisket. So please get your tickets.
My birthday party. So get your tickets for Bubbles and Briskets and come celebrate. And I really do appreciate you guys throwing me that big of a party.
It's a big deal.
It's worth it.
If you can go round the horn, meaning like eat all the brisket, we gotta like stamp a card or just something like
Challenge.
that. The very
Challenge.
end, you gotta like jump into Drew's lap. He's gonna like hold you like a baby in a cradle.
How many VIP
And
tickets
burp
are
you.
there?
He's going to burp you.
We are capping VIP at 75, and
75?
we are over the 50 ticket limit right now.
Okay, so if you want VIP, folks,
Yeah.
come get it.
Yeah, like it's literally almost sold out, so you got to get to it right now. For those that are hungry and thirsty, go to Bubbles and Brisket. For those, go to Bubbles and Brisket on June 8th. But for those that are thirsty beyond that, go to Dram Draught at any of their 7 locations all over North Carolina. And for those that are just thirsty, for a date, swipe right on Kevin's profile on Tinder. And also,
All 57-year-old women,
Go
go to
to
Kevin's Tinder.
go to Spirit of the Dow,
I don't
get
discriminate
some
age-wise.
goats and some Moonbird, and you will eat and drink merrily.
Thanks for listening to the NCF&B podcast. And if you've stuck with us this long, review us on iTunes and remember, 5 stars are encouraged.